Hey everybody, and welcome to our very first episode of GSP TV. I am so excited to have you join with us today. Each week we will be providing program updates. We'll be giving you some practical teaching each week, some tips to empower you for financial freedom, as well as some interviews. We'll be interviewing some of our staff here, as well as from time to time we're going to have some guests in and some pastors in, so it's going to be absolutely fantastic. This week actually we're going to be speaking with CEO and President of Christian Credit Counselors, Greg McTaggart. So before we get into this week's episode, I want to encourage you that every week we encourage you to participate. You can participate by engaging with us on social media, emailing us, giving your comments, feedback. Share your money tips with us. We may be able to take some of these tips and share them on our website, or if you're lucky, we may even air your tip on GSP TV. So check the details on your screen. Make sure that you get in touch with us. We love hearing back from you. Now, if you don't already know about the Good Samaritan Program, it's a free Bible-based DVD series. It runs for 6 weeks and can be run in churches in a small or a large group setting. And let me just quickly outline the 6 weeks for you. Week 1, we talk about God's purpose for your finances. Week 2, we talk about the power of budgeting. And week 3, we talk about the culture of debt. Week 4, saving and why it's important. Week 5, funding your future. And week 6, the power of giving. As I just said before, it's completely free of charge, and we already have had over 600 churches across the nation enroll in this powerful program. We only just launched this program in March, so we are already seeing churches jump on board and get excited about helping people get out of debt in less time. Now, also every week, we're going to give a shout out to the Church of the Week. That means we're just going to say, hey, this is one of the churches that is running the Good Samaritan Program, and we're going to give you a shout out. So a Church of the Week, this week, the church we're going to give a shout out to is Greater St. Paul Baptist Church in Oakland, California. So if you're in Oakland, California, get on down to Greater St. Paul Baptist Church, check them out, say hi to the great folks down there, and I hope that you're all enjoying running the Good Samaritan Program out there in Oakland. I wanted to share a couple of testimonials with you. Often we get emails, Facebook posts about people's lives that have been changed, people's lives that have been transformed, and at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about getting people out of debt, transforming hearts, and people living the life that God planned for them, which is a debt-free life. I believe that we're blessed to be a blessing. It's really hard to be a blessing when you're laden down with debt. So here's a great, really wonderful testimony. Let me just share this with you. They say, I really loved that they really loved it. So I really love the simple concept that we need to have a vision for our money. It's great to know that all the wisdom for this class comes straight from God's Word. Absolutely powerful. And then we have someone who actually enrolled in our debt reduction program, and Shirley on Facebook, she said, another credit card paid off. Thanks to you all. What a rush it is to get those nasty things out of the way and on to freedom. Now you may be asking, okay, what is the debt reduction program? Well, the debt reduction program is very simply where we practically help people pay off the debts faster, we lower the interest rates, and we save them thousands of dollars worth of credit card interest. And right now what we're going to do is we're going to show you a quick video. It's only 2 minutes long, so just watch this with me. The debt reduction program gives a great explanation about how this wonderful program works. And already over the last 20 years, Christian Credit Counselors has helped over 300,000 people get out of debt in less time. So check this out.
When you call Christian Credit Counselors, a debt reduction consultant will work with you to compile all of your credit card statements, including your balances and interest rates, and will calculate your total amount of credit card debt during a confidential money management session. The debt reduction consultant will then calculate your proposed new interest rates for each credit card and will create a personalized payment plan for you to follow. This includes the amount of time it will take to eliminate your debt, your new monthly payment, and the amount of interest you will save on the plan. For example, a church member with $40,000 of credit card debt enrolled in the program, and Christian credit counselors was able to lower her monthly payment by $700 and saved her $25,000 in interest. At this time, you are able to decide whether our plan is the right choice for your situation. If not, that's okay. Christian Credit Counselors is truly here to help you in any way we can. The debt consultant is also available to go over your income and expenses to help you create a workable budget and find areas where you can cut down spending and allocate those funds to needed areas. Once you are enrolled in the program, you will be able to make one monthly payment, and Christian Credit Counselors will pay all of your creditors on your behalf. If this sounds like something that would finally take the weight of debt off of your shoulders, call toll-free today for a free, confidential money management consultation at 877-218-5085 or visit us online at christiancreditcounselors.org. Christian Credit Counselors is the ethical way to pay your debts in full, in less time, and with less interest. Let us empower you to reach financial freedom.
Wow, what a powerful video. I would encourage you that if you have credit card debt and you're paying high interest rates, give one of our debt reduction counselors a call. They'd love to chat with you. The call is free, the consultation is free, and see whether or not that this is the right thing for you. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about debt. And debt can be a very powerful thing. Proverbs 22 verse 7 says, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender," or a slave to the lender. And I want to give you some tips today on how you can practically get out of debt. And firstly, it's about getting a vision for where you want to be. And your vision needs to be bigger than just getting out of debt. I mean, if you're in debt, don't just think, oh, I just want to get out of debt. No, think bigger than that. Think about not just paying off your credit cards, paying off your car, pay off your house, but then think about now, once we're out of debt, what do I want to do with my money? What are the plans for my life? How is that money that I was previously putting towards debt, what am I going to do with that now? What is my plan for that money? Number two is it's so important to have a budget. A budget is really money with a vision. And sometimes when you draw up a budget and you look at your income and then you do your expenses and you realize, hey, you know what? I've got a deficit here. And if that's the case, sometimes you've got to cut back. Sometimes you have to eliminate certain things in your life to get to a place of surplus. I know that for a great tip that if you're married is to try, if you can, and obviously this only works, if both spouses are working, but look to live off one spousal income and then to either with the other spousal income to pay off debt, or obviously if you paid off debt, you can use your other spousal income to save up for a house. This is something that my wife and I did, and it can be a really powerful tool for getting out of debt. We even had to downsize. I know that's a word that seems very negative, but at the end of the day, it can save you. We had to move from our luxury apartment to a very small basement below a house. Other folks living upstairs, and we were just in their basement living, paying a very small amount of rent. Why? Because we wanted to get out of debt, and we were prepared to do whatever it took to get out of debt. Don't be lazy and apathetical getting out of debt. Do whatever it takes. Draw up a budget, eliminate things in your life that are luxuries, and pay down that debt a whole lot quicker. The next thing is to be faithful with what you have. Be a good steward. That means no matter what you're earning, always put 10% away for the Lord. Always give 10% to your local church. It always amazes me because when I think about the tithe and the reasons that people give to tithe or not to tithe, what really it comes down to is this. If you give to God, you really believe that you are going to be way better off as a result of having done so. But if you don't give to God, if you withhold the tithe and don't give to your local church, what you're really saying is, you know what? I don't believe that I'm going to be better off by giving this 10% to God. I believe that I'm going to be better off withholding it. And really, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to trust. Do you trust God with your money? to be the owner and the authority of your money, and that you are just the manager distributing your money according to the will of God. The next one is to get rid of old and negative mindsets, poverty mindsets. Don't be a slave to this. God has called you to live a life of prosperity. Why? So you can live in excess? No, but you can be blessed to be a blessing. The Good Samaritan Program was called that because the Good Samaritan was able to help the man who was beaten up and left for dead on the side of the road, not just because he had compassion, but also because he had the financial means to do so. The next one is to set a deadline date to be debt-free. This is really important. Put a date on your planner, on your schedule, on a wall, and if you need to have a coach or an accountability partner to help you keep on track, to cheer you on until you get to your goal, then I think that's also a great idea. But set a deadline date for it and say, this is the date I'm believing that I'm going to be debt-free. And with the help of God and being faithful and doing a good budget, I know that we're going to make it. So once you have your deadline date in place, it's really important to understand to get a great vision of being completely 100% debt-free. Being out of credit card debt is great. Paying off your cars or auto debt or other debt, college debt, IRS debt that you have is great. Then just keep going and pay off your house. If you pay off your house in a quicker amount of time, and I'm going to show you very quickly how easy that is, you can save a lot of money in interest. So think of this example. On a $200,000 home loan, and that's what pretty much the average price around America is if you're buying a home, on a 30-year loan, you're going to pay almost $400,000 altogether, which is actually about $186,000 of that is interest. Now, on a 15-year loan, however, you're only going to pay a total of about $284,000 in total for your house, which means $200,000 is the principal and $84,000 interest, which means you're going to save over $100,000 just by paying off your home in 15 years. Now, this is an amazing thought because over 60% of Americans don't even have $1,000 in the bank, let alone $100,000. So I want to talk to you about paying off in half the time, and this is how you do it, by simply prepaying your principal. This means that if your monthly payment, mortgage payment, is around $1,300, and let's just say $1,000 of that is principal, and about $300 of that is interest, and I am basing these figures off on a 5% fixed mortgage rate, but if those numbers are the correct numbers, then what you would do is you would pay your $1,300, let's say it's May, and you pay your $1,300 for May, and if your $300 is the principal portion, you then write an extra check designating it as principal towards June's principal and send that in with your monthly mortgage payment, and just doing that every single month, you will have your home loan paid off in 15 years. And of course, you can put more towards the principal. You don't have to just pay next month's principal. You can pay the next month and the next month and the next month. You can pay an extra $1,000. You can pay an extra $2,000. Just make sure that your lender knows what the extra money for and that it gets allocated properly to principal. It seems simple. It seems too easy, yet a lot of people just don't do it. So think about it if you're looking to get in a home. Think about it if you already own a home. Can you stretch? Can you fit in your budget an extra little bit of money each month to pay off your home in less time and saving a whopping amount of interest? Coming right up, we have an interview with CEO and President Greg McTaggart. We're going to be right back. Welcome back. We're now joined by Greg McTaggart, who is the CEO and President of Christian Credit Counselors. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
How you doing? Great to have you on the very first episode of GSP TV. We're going to talk to you a little bit about Christian Credit Counselors, the background, the GSP DVD series going into churches. And you had the original idea and vision for this early last year, I believe it was, and then finally this has come into fruition. I guess the program was officially released mid to late March of this year, and there's already been now, I think, over 600 churches that have already enrolled in just a few short months. So
yes.
What was your original motivation of actually starting the Good Samaritan Program?
Well, the motivation was twofold. I mean, number one, it was just heartbreaking to watch church members pay their hard-earned money for these courses that have a huge failure rate. I mean, they're going to the courses, they're trying to get out of debt, but they're just failing in huge numbers. And they're spending their hard-earned money to do it. The second part of it is we can put this into the churches for free. We're a nonprofit company. We can put it in the churches for free. We're licensed and bonded to handle people's money, and we can get the lower interest rates, and our success rate is much higher.
Okay, so you're talking about success rate. What kind of success rate do you have about getting people out of debt?
We have over a 70% success rate in getting people out of debt.
Wow, that's incredible. And we're gonna kind of dive into that a little bit later on in our chat here today about how actually that happens. Mm-hmm. But I guess one of the other things is, as far as the Good Samaritan Program goes and how some of the other programs, they cost a lot of money, it's obviously free, but, and I guess these are the things that really differentiate the Good Samaritan Program. In your mind, what are some of the other key differences of the Good Samaritan Program to some of the other programs that are out there?
Well, I mean, our program is the only program that helps you with your finances because we handle the money, okay? It's no longer your responsibility. We take care of that burden for you. We collect the money, we contact your creditors, we set up the payment arrangements, we get the lower interest rates, we do everything for you. You don't have to do a thing.
Wow. And you mentioned before about being licensed and bonded, and now you're talking about sort of handling money. Mm-hmm. Some people might say, this is a DVD series. Mm-hmm. So what's happened is quite revolutionary, because the other programs that are out there is just great teaching mm-hmm. and impartation, some Bible verses, etc. But some folks may not realize that the Good Samaritan Program actually goes beyond the books. Mm-hmm. And that after watching the DVD series, there's online coursework, there's practical application, mm-hmm. but then there's also the debt reduction program, which is what you're basically talking about, where people, if they have debt, specifically credit card debts or unsecured debts, mm-hmm. they can get help, and you handle the money and helping people pay down their debts quicker by lowering interest rates, and in most cases, lowering the monthly payments.
Exactly.
And so can you explain a little bit more about what the term licensed and bonded means?
Well, in order to handle somebody's money and handle their bills, you need to be licensed and bonded, because it's an important role. You're handling their money. Now, most of these people that you see out there selling their books, selling their DVDs, selling their get-rich-quick methods, they're just selling a book. They're not licensed and bonded. They're just selling a book. You pay your hard-earned money for that book, and then when you fail, it's too bad for you.
Yeah.
Whereas we're accountable. We're going to make sure that once you sign up with us in the debt management plan, which is a separate component from the learning and the budgeting, we're going to take you in the debt management plan and make sure step by step by step we get the interest rates down, we get the payments down, and we get you out of debt.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And for over 20 years, Christian Credit Counselors has actually helped over 300,000 people get out of debt in less time, and saving thousands and thousands of dollars of interest that they would have paid to the banks that they're keeping in their pockets. Now, give us a little bit of the history of Christian Credit Counselors, because your father started this company actually even further back than 20 years.
Right. My father started as a professional credit counselor in 1962 when he got out of the Marine Corps. I mean, credit problems have been around forever. Nothing's changed. Budgeting's the same as it was in the 60s. It's still budgeting. The only thing new are the new scams, the higher interest rates, the compound interest is just multiplying, and easy credit is getting people in trouble.
Wow. So in reality, Christian Credit Counselors has, been around and been doing this for around 50 years.
The leadership has, yes.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. So great track record. What would you say, your plans would be? I mean, obviously the Good Samaritan Program is launched. We've had so much incredible feedback from churches. As I said before, over 600 churches have already enrolled. We get testimony after testimony of how much it's impacting churches, how much it's impacting communities, marriages, families, and individuals' lives. What is your vision and plan for the next 5 years for Christian Credit Counselors? Where do you want to be? Where do you see the company going?
Well, we want to get this free DVD program in as many churches as we can. We want to get the church members to realize that all the money that they're paying in compound interest each month, $400 a month in interest only, not going toward their principal, could be going towards kingdom work. They're just wasting the money by giving it to large banks.
Yeah, I find that really amazing because already just in a few short months, we literally have saved over $800,000 in credit card debt and interest that would have gone to the banks, but now through the people that have enrolled in the debt reduction program, who've gone through the Good Samaritan program, we've saved that money for them. That over $800,000 is now staying in church members' pockets, is now staying in the house of God, is not going to the banks. I mean, I find that just incredible. You know, you're very excited, very passionate about this, and obviously it's been in your family, and this has really been something that you've dedicated your life to. What would you say is the most rewarding part of your job and what you do here every day?
Well, the greatest part of the job is when families get that burden lifted off their shoulders, when they can finally breathe. We take over the debts, we handle the arrangements, they can start to relax and focus on their family, which is what they want to do. They don't have that burden. There's no more fighting between the spouses on who's taking care of what. The budget's set. We know what the budget is. We have a plan. We're accountable to execute the plan, and it happens.
Yeah, no, that's great. So quite often people have asked me, what is credit counseling? I mean, I don't know if you find that people kind of like, well, what actually is, credit counseling? So I guess a lot of people actually, they don't know what it is. Maybe they're confused about it. What would be, in a nutshell, what's your kind of response when people ask you that?
I mean, the technical definition is a licensed nonprofit credit counselor helps people get their finances and budgets in order and educates them on how to improve their financial situation.
Can you kind of talk people through exactly if they need help with their credit card debts or unsecured loans, and they call, what will happen? What can they expect? Obviously, it's a free call, so it's a free consultation. It doesn't cost them anything. Mm-hmm. What can they expect when they call?
Again, we're a nonprofit company. It's a free call. The first thing we have to do is establish a baseline. So you need to get all your bills together so we know who you owe and how much you owe. Also, your pay stubs, have those available so we know how much income is coming in. Once we start typing that into the computer, the certified financial counselors will go over that information with you and analyze where you stand and where we can help you.
So, debt settlement. Mm-hmm. I know that that kind of irks you a little bit, as it does me, because we know how we've just heard story after story after story of lives that have just been ruined by debt settlement. Mm-hmm. Sadly, some people think that credit counseling and debt settlement are the same thing. They kind of confuse the two. Credit counseling obviously is very different than debt settlement. It is not even really close to what credit counseling does. So give me a little bit, what are the key differences and why should people be really wary and stay away from debt settlement?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, the FTC has really cracked down on debt settlement companies. Again, they're promising the moon, they're not delivering. Okay, they're not licensed to handle money. They're not bonded to do this type of work. They're promising just all these wild, ludicrous promises, and they're not delivering. So the FTC has come in, they put all these rules in place and really clamp down and pretty much, shut down the whole industry. But there's a few people out there that are, falling through the cracks, that are advertising, and the government just can't catch everybody. So they're putting out these ads, we'll wipe out your debt, we'll get you settlements on your account. What they don't tell you is they're going to destroy your credit, they're going to charge you a big fee, and anything that they do, you can get for yourself for free. You don't need to pay them.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing about debt settlement is you could just go and do it yourself. I mean, you could just stop paying your bills and
all it is.
Play hardball with the bank. You don't need a debt settlement company to do that.
That's all debt settlement is ignoring your bills and not paying them. That's all it is. In a nutshell, that's all you're doing.
So one of the things that really irks me about debt settlement is obviously not just that they want people to pay them for doing something you could do yourself for free, but that they don't have relationships with banks and creditors. Christian credit counselors and credit counseling companies have relationships with banks. I know Christian Credit Counselors has relationships with banks and creditors, pretty much every bank and creditor across the nation. These are pre-existing relationships. Credit score is a big thing. So obviously debt settlement ruins your credit score. Credit counseling, how does that affect your credit score?
According to FICO.com, which runs the scoring agency for all the credit bureaus, credit counseling does not affect your credit score. Okay. Your credit score is how you make your payments each month. Are you on time or you're late? That's the biggest part of your credit score. Okay. So by getting on our debt management program and everything's automated through the computer, we're collecting the money, we're sending it out on time per the agreement, you should be just fine.
No, I think that's really great. So what is the main benefit? I mean, you know, people might be sitting home going, well, why don't I just, because, you know, Christian Credit Counselors lowers the interest rate with banks, etc. You know, but a person may be sitting at home, well, why don't I just call the bank and try and negotiate my own lower interest rate? I mean, what's really the benefit of using a company like Christian Credit Counselors?
Well, number one is organization, and number two is we're accountable to handle that. And the last thing is, if you call a bank and ask for a lower rate because you're having a hardship, you may get it, but you may get it for just 60 or 90 days, and then the rate goes back up. Well, that really doesn't help the problem when you have to pay over a long term, say 4 or 5 years. We get the rates lower for the full term.
That's amazing.
And we do all the work.
Wow. And most people that I've spoken to actually have had no luck whatsoever. I mean, you were talking about 30, 60, 90 days it might be lowered for. Most people I talk to, the banks won't even lower it at all.
And it depends on your hardship. But that only takes care of one bill. What if you have 5 credit cards, 8 credit cards? You have to do that with every one. Again, the charge that we have is average $26. It's a nominal charge. We're a nonprofit company to help offset the costs. It's well worth your money, and you're going to save a lot more than you ever spent.
No, exactly. I just think that's absolutely phenomenal. Greg, you've done a great job with getting this program up and running, and I know that churches and families across the nation are just going to be completely transformed for generations because, you know, they really dealt with the issue of debt and were serious about it and did something practical about it.
Great. Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Fantastic. Thanks, Greg, for your time, and we'll definitely have you back on again in future episodes. And we appreciate all of your wisdom here today on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great stuff. We're going to be back in just a minute. Hey, what a great interview that was. And, you know, we're at the end of our program now. I've so enjoyed being with you. And what we do each week, we're going to give you a quick money saving tip. We hope that you'll write into us and help us with these tips. I'm sure you've got some great money saving tips, and we'd love to share those with all the viewers out there, if not on our weekly TV program, definitely on the web. But our money saving tip this week is all about maximizing on rewards cards and programs. So, you know, you're going to have to buy groceries and clothes anyway. You might as well save some money in the process. And there are countless online rewards programs out there. One of those is Groupon. So, you know, Groupon's a great one. There are other great ones. We'll post on our blog a whole bunch of other ones that you can check out. That's all for this week. Next week we'll be having another great interview, and of course we'll be answering any questions that you send in. And I hope you send your money tips and connect with us, communicate with us. Find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter. We just love connecting with our viewers. And make sure to share this video with your friends and family. Keep in touch. Thanks so much for being with us for our very first episode. We'll see you next week. God bless you.